on to the issue of our friends and brothers from the East, the leader of IPOB and so many other groups from the Southeast who are seeking to fight for the principle of self-determination. It's an academic argument, it's an intellectual exercise. Happens everywhere in the world. I don't want to be part of this country anymore. Oh, why? Because you're not treating me fairly. What a rational, sensible government would do would be to reach out and say, okay, what's wrong? It's like you have a wife in the house. Let me just go to the side. And the wife said, I'm going. You know how many of you that are wives here do it from time to time? I'm going. Pack my bags. And you're still bluffing for a while. When you really see the woman is going, what you have to do? You go and meet her and you beg her. You pet her. Happens to us all. I'm tired, I'm going. You don't lock the gate, lock the door, hold her down by the throat and beat her black and blue and say you're not going anywhere. You have to win her over. You have to talk to her. You have to woo her all over again. And you have to make her have confidence in you that you will treat her well. And no matter what you've done, if you do that and you add a little bit of prayer to it, definitely she will stay. But in our case, when those from the East, led by Nnamdi Kanu and so many other gallant men who are also risking their lives, say they want to leave because the Igbos are not getting a fair deal in this country, instead of being booed and being persuaded to stay, they are met with bullets, murder, state-sponsored murder, incarceration. They are insulted from morning, day, and night in the media. They are treated as if they are animals. And you know, theirs is actually the worst case because nobody talks about it. And the political leaders in the East, bar a few, and I have immense respect for the chairman of Ohanese, the new chairman, and a few others, but most of them, there's this collusion and conspiracy of silence. Whilst their young men and women are being slaughtered morning, day, and night, and many are being locked up. Again, I say this is unacceptable, and this is part of the baggage that comes with a Buhari presidency. It's predictable. Now, past Igbo-Yoruba debate, Ijo-Yoruba debate, Ijo-Igbo debate, all this is absolute rubbish. That is just an intellectual aspect. For today, whatever you believe happened 50 years ago, 100 before the Igbos, between the Igbos, is irrelevant. The fact is we're all going under this terrible siege that we've all been subjected to. And those that joined hands with the forces of retrogression and the forces of subjugation to enslave their own people, they are regretting it. And it's time for us to open arms and say, well, we forgive you, let there be peace and unity between us, and let us stand together against the foe that seeks to enslave each and every one of us. Now, I will also say one word concerning the people of the Middle Belt. We know what the Igbos have been through. We know that on the night of January 29, 1966, 300 Igbo officers from the army were massacred in cold blood. Yes, in retaliation for the January 15th coup, where you had about 20 leaders from virtually every zone except from the east that were murdered by primarily Igbo soldiers. But 6 months later or so, we, because it involved everybody, we killed 300 Igbo officers in cold blood in the middle of the night, shot the Igbo head of state, and at the same time killed his Yoruba host, Major General Faji, who said he would not leave him to die. We did that. Nigeria did that. A few months later, no less than 100,000 Igbos were slaughtered in cold blood. 100,000 in the space of 3-4 months. There was the initial program, the second one, all over the north. They will go from hospital to hospital, house to house, looking for pregnant women, cutting open the stomach, pulling the baby out and dashing its head against a stone. That's what they were subjected to. And of course, after that, as they went home to the east, because Ojukwu said come home, at each train station, they were stoned, they were insulted, they were humiliated, and they were, people were shooting bows and arrows at them. But they got home, and then of course the war began. And during the course of that war, we, Nigeria, you and I, every single one of us, we killed over 2 million of them. And it didn't stop there. We boastfully told the world when they complained, when they saw kwashiorkor-ridden children on the screens, dying children, starving to death. We boastfully proclaimed to the world that the starvation of children is a legitimate weapon of war. We committed genocide. And not only did we committed it against children. And we told the world that it is legitimate, that it's okay to do that because we're at war. Well, of course, we know that stands against the law of war itself, and today it is classified, and will be classified as a crime against humanity. But that is gone, buried. Nobody's talking about it, and we did that to them. After doing that, after the Civil War, what did we do? We told them to come home, no victor, no vanquished, integrated it. Yet we took away all their property, everything, except for the Southwest. And I always argue about this, but it's the truth. In Lagos, 90% of the people that came back got their properties back. 90%. Everywhere else, the North, the South, they took everything from them. They had no home to go back to, and they called it abandoned property. We did that to them. Not only that, if an Igbo man had, I believe, £1 million in a bank, we called it victor, no vanquished. But that Igbo man that had £1 million in the bank, after the war, he was told, sorry, your money is gone. We'll only give you £20. That is the Igbo experience. And like I said, we've argued with them and disputed who started tribalism, who did this. We've done, but that's academic. But the reality is that we did this to them. And it took Obasanjo's intervention, how many years? 1999, before any Igbo man could be trusted to be even a GOC in the Nigerian army. And of course, Jonathan came in. It's one of the reasons why I love him so much. He came in and he fully reintegrated them and he brought them back in. Now Buhari has come, we are back to square one. Even worse, because of course he never even campaigned in the Southeast, because he saw them as being almost subhuman, people he didn't need to bother about. Now, I said all this because I want to compare it to something else, then I'll round up and I'll finish. The people of the Middle Belt, if you believe that the Igbos suffered immeasurably, which they did, and if you have any compassion and humanity in you, you will agree with me that what they went through was reprehensible and unacceptable, and there should be retribution. There should be not only retribution for those involved, they should be brought to justice. Apart from that, there should also be massive compensation for them for what they were subjected to. But they suffered, but another group suffered.